Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Arnold. Today is going to be lesson one for Adobe Photoshop. And the way to locate Photoshop is you will see it on your taskbar down here. It's a blue icon that says PS. So go ahead and click upon that and Photoshop will open. Give it just a moment. There it goes. Yours will look a little bit different. It should say White Rabbit on it, but don't worry about it. It's the exact same program. And there it is. Okay, before we begin, we need to make sure you've got a couple of things open. First and foremost, we need to make sure that your layers panel is currently open. This is what the layers panel looks like. And really that's the most important one you have here. This is the character and paragraph palette right here, but we don't need those at the moment. So that being said, let's switch it up and go to our file menu, choose new. And for today we're going to create a nameplate, which is just going to be some basic, it's a basic type tutorial. And I'm going to show you how to do layers and how to use layer styles. So we're going to go and name this nameplate. For the preset, for default Photoshop size, let's just set it to custom. For the width, let's set this measurement from inches, let's change that to pixels. And let's see, let's go for, let's try 700, and we'll set that to, and we can leave that at 360, that should be okay. And for the background contents, we can leave those at white, resolution is 72, and color mode is RGB color. Once you have these settings in, go ahead and click OK, and it will bring this up for you. There it is. Alright, that's not too bad. Alright, first off, now that we have our file established, let's go over here to the toolbar, which is on your left-hand side. If you do not see this, just go to your window menu and come down to tools. Make sure the check mark is on there. So we're going to use the horizontal type tool, which is just this capital letter T right here. Go ahead and click upon that. Sometimes it takes a moment for it to initialize. You'll see the little thinking icon, but otherwise it should come right up. And your toolbar for that is located up here on the top. And let's change this to an easy font to work with. Let's switch that to Impact. That's always an easy one. Impact. And then what you can do is go ahead and type in a word. Go ahead and use your name or something. I'm just going to type in Knox Tech for whatever reason, K-N-O-X. Make sure it's capitalized, T-C-H. And then to highlight it, either double click upon the whole thing to highlight it or press Control A with your keyboard. Control A, that highlights your text. And up here on your menu bar, let's change the font size from 12 point all the way to 72 so we can at least see it. Okay, right now it's still relatively small. We need to fit the entire canvas that you have there. So if you want to activate your transform handles, press the control key down and the letter T. T is in transform. And that brings up the transform handles. And what you can do next is use these handles here to stretch it out and make it fit the space a little bit better. And that looks good to me. To go ahead and commit to this, just press enter on your keyboard or double click on the inside. I'm going to choose enter because it's easier. Alright, now that we have that done, let's center it. Press Control A, and up here on your menu bar, you'll notice that you've got these little icons here. So we'll choose this one, which is align vertical center, and then this one right here, which is align horizontal center. And that puts a dead center in the page. Alright, and then to deselect, the context clue there is the letter D and deselect, so Control D, and that deselects everything. Now let's get to brass tacks. Let's start working. I'm going to tell you about layers and layer styles. Right now we have layers. Everything in Photoshop is on a separate layer. So for example, if I wanted to turn off the background, I could click the little eyeball here and turn that off. If I wanted to keep the background but remove the text, I would take the layer for Knox Tech and click the eyeball there. That's how you manipulate layers. You can also drag them up and down. Like for example, I'm going to take the background layer and double click upon it. It's going to come up with this thing that says layer 0. I'll rename it background, I don't care. Click OK, but you'll notice that the lock is no longer there. So now I'm free to do whatever I want with it. Like if I wanted to paint it or do something, I can. And we will do that later on. So let's make sure the Knox Tech layer is active, or your type layer. And to make sure it's active, just click on it and you'll see that it's highlighted. And then I'd like you to hit this button for layer styles. It's denoted by a little button that says FX. Click that, and let's go immediately to, let's go to color overlay. You know, let's go to gradient overlay, that's more fun. And then scoot this over. What I'm going to do is, with gradient overlay selected, you have the thing highlighted. Over here in gradient, what I'm going to do is choose one of these ones. I think I'll go with the orange. No, I don't like that. I'll stick with rainbow. I don't mind the rainbow. Take that, and then, you know, you can play with the angle. You can make it linear, you can make it radial. You can, let's see what else, put it at an angle if you like. See how it changes it up. It's kind of neat. And then you can, then we can also do reflected. It's pretty cool, I like that. And then of course diamond, there's different ones. I think I'll stick with the reflected one for now. Okay, now let's give it some depth. Let's make it look as if it's kind of three-dimensional. And for that, let's go to bevel and emboss. And let me zoom in real quick so you can see. Is that better? What I did was I pressed Control plus. Control plus and Control minus are zooming in and zooming out. And if you get too far into it and you're like, oh no, what do I do? I went in too far. What you can do is press Control 0. Oops, that's not it. Or you can go to your view menu and just put fit on screen or Control 0 or something like that. That's how it should work. Okay, anyhow, let's go back to gradient overlay. Oh, actually, I was doing bevel and emboss. Okay, so right now it's on inner bevel, and I want to have, let's see, try outer bevel. No, I don't like that. We'll stick with inner bevel, but I do encourage you to try different things. And let's try the different size, and also the depth, which gives it more dimensionality there. Maybe you like emboss, you can try an emboss, or you can try pillow emboss, which is a little softer, or a stroke emboss. I think inner bevel is going to do the trick. And you can also do what's called a gloss contour, which is kind of change the look of it for how it reflects light. Feel free to try all of them. That one's pretty cool. I like the double ring. I'm going to stick with this one right here. This is the ring, but you can make yours however you want to do it. Also for the direction, try different ones, up and down. I think I'll keep mine up. That looks a little more fluid. Okay, next let's hit stroke. And what that does is just gives it a bit of an outline. By default, it seems to come up with three pixel size. So there's three different modes. You can do outside position, inside, or center. I think I like center. That seems to work best. But once again, try whatever you want to do. You can do a color. You can do a gradient for it. That's pretty neat. Or a pattern. Yeah, I'll stick with color. Now also too with the color, if you don't like how dark it is, you can always change the color by clicking on this little box and then choose whichever one you want. You can either use the slider to change it up, or if you like, bring your mouse over here and sample directly from one of them. I don't know, the slider will probably work the best. But I'm going to stick with black just because I can. Alright, but I'll change the size of it. I'll bring it down to 2, and then also change the opacity. And opacity just means transparency. You know what? Maybe 3 is fine. Okay, whoops, I accidentally pressed enter. But I can always bring that back. I'll just come back to stroke right there, and it brings up the window. Not a problem. Okay, let's see what we can do next. Let's do what's called a drop shadow. Let's see here. Drop shadow, I can read. Go ahead and click upon that. And what we can do is, let's see. Right now it's at a distance of 5 pixels, and you can barely see it there. But feel free to go ahead and move that out slightly. There it goes. That's a drop shadow. You don't have to do that. I'm going to disconnect that. Let's do an outer glow though. Outer glow is pretty neat. You can do what's called the spread, size. You can also change the color on it, because that's a bit light. Let's change that to a different color. I'll make it red or something. See what that does. Doesn't really appear to be showing much of anything. Let's try something next. Let's take care of that. Let's go to drop shadow instead. Let's set that distance back to 0. Maybe spread it out slightly. Change the size. There it goes. Then I'll try the different things. There you go. See how it gets in a cool outline? And that's with drop shadow. I was confused. I had the outer glow going. But you can also change the color too. Like if I want red, I can make it red. Or I can make it gold. That's kind of ugly. Either way. So that's where I'm going to leave it right now. But let's go ahead and change that. Right now it doesn't stand out very well in the background, does it? So what we can do is we can change that to black or something else darker. Or you can use your gradient tool, which is fun. Like the gradient tool, you can use one of the built-in ones. So let's try, for grins, I'll do this one, right? What you do with the gradient tool is make sure you have your background layer done, and then just click and drag straight down. If you hold your shift key down, it keeps your line straight, and it can change it up. Yeah, that's kind of ugly, I don't like that. So instead what I'll do is I'll fill it with black. So I'm going to fill, and then I'll choose foreground color, which is black, and click OK. Alright. Now, as you can see, you can't really see much around it, so let's try that outer glow again. So I'm going to double click here on effects and bring that back up. Let's go to outer glow. There we go. And now let's go ahead and spread that thing out. Make it stand out. Change the contour of it. There we go. That's nice and tacky. I like it. Now here's the best part. Once you get it to where you want it and where it's dialed in and everything, you can always just double click right here on the letter T on the Nox Tech or whatever the layer is, your thumbnail image, the T. What that does is highlights for it. So if you wanted to change it to something else, you can. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and make it my name. Hey look, it says Arnold. Okay, or I can make it say something hip and cool, like hip and cool. Or I can make it say holler, because I'm all about that. Alright, anyway, I think you get what's going on. So what I would like you to do is continue playing around with the layer styles, try different things, and make it as colorful and tacky as possible. And then tomorrow we will continue on this lesson 2 with the another lesson which is about how to go ahead and make some like diamond style letters. It's called the bling text, and that's what we'll do next. So have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Where'd it go? There it is.